I believe that some of the participants today represent the pilot programs. The task force consists of 1 or 2 members from each Arqus university. We have been working together on preparing this workshop, and the task force members will help out moderate the group work a little later today. So therefore, I'd like to take the opportunity to present the members. And perhaps you could just say hi or wave as I say your name. So Inma Juste Martinez from Granada.
Hi, hello everyone.
Elisabeth Hillebrand Augustin from the University of Graz.
Hello, welcome everybody, nice to see you.
Isabel Maringer, Leipzig University.
Hello everyone, it's my pleasure.
And from the University of Lyon, we have Marion Sagnard and Gustavo Daniel Inservalde.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, hello.
And then Veronica Costa from the University of Padua.
Hello.
And then we have 3 representatives from the University of Vilnius, Eva Sialyka, Andreas Uzdanavicius, and Jurgita Viskedaita.
Hi, the easiest surnames.
Okay, and last but not least, another representative from the University of Vilnius, a student representative, Thomas Bedulski.
Hello.
So we have now informed you a little bit about the Arqus Alliance and who we are, and now it would be really interesting to see who you, the participants, are. So therefore, I kindly ask my colleague Inma from the University of Granada to share her screen for some minutes of interactivity. Inma, please.
Yes, I will. Yeah. Sima, ask you, you can please log here inside that in your browser. Yeah, back. And allows you to add this code that appear here is 26, 4, and 9.
Ma,
so
sorry.
we
cannot see your Inma. We cannot see your what you're sharing.
Sorry.
I think we have.
Try to share again.
Yeah, do that.
Can you see now my screen? Can you see my screen?
If you change to the Slido on top there.
I don't know if you are.
The connection seems to be very bad, right?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
I think, unfortunately, we have some technical challenges here. So perhaps we can, in the meantime, we can go to the next part of the program and just see if we can get back to the Slido. What we wanted to ask you was what universities you represent. And there's a big group here today. Right now we're 108 participants, and there should be participants from all 7 Arqus universities. And we would just like to show how many you are and who represents, how many represents each university. But let's see if we can get back to the Slido presentation a little later. Okay, so then I think we can go to to the first presentation today. And it's my pleasure to give the floor to our task force colleague, Dr. Isabel Maringer from Leipzig University, who will give you an introduction to the topic, a short draft of the theoretical concept of mobility windows. So please, Isabel.
Thank you. I hope you can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So what I wanted to present you today is the theoretical concept of a mobility window. We will talk later on a lot of the practical implementation, but this is more the draft and the terminology that I wanted to present to you. So if we talk all the time about mobility window, what is it that we're talking about? So here's the classical definition of a mobility window according to an AK study or survey, a mobility window from concept to practice that has been published in 2013. And it defines a mobility window as a period of time reserved for international student mobility that is embedded into the curriculum of a study program. This curricular embeddedness means that mobility is an explicit part of the home curriculum. So it really is foreseen and reserved for, it's a part which is reserved for the student mobility. These phases of mobility can be either mandatory or optional. The foreseen student mobility is physical and beyond national borders. I think in 2013, this seems to be a very easy definition to say so, right? In this moment, we have a lot of digital mobility too. And the mobility windows also is defined that the curriculum includes the option of recognizing the stay abroad. And there are internal variations in length of mobility, purpose, number of partner institutions, and so on. So there are very different kinds of mobility windows. And just to make a very a typology of the mobility windows, I want to show you 4 types of a mobility window. And this typology is based upon 2 criteria. The first one is the degree of standardization of the window's academic content. So the content can be a very flexible one and a very fixed one. This is what you can see here at the end of the graph that shows here. And the second one is the status of the mobility window in the study program, because it can be optional or mandatory. And this is the other thing that you see here between mandatory and optional. And these 2 criteria take a very strong influence on the 4 different types of mobility windows, and I want to show them 4 to you. The first one is a mandatory and loosely prescribed mobility window. This is I can, if I, it's a pity that I cannot add, just a second. I wanted to spotlight something on the screen, but I think it's not possible. You just see where the numbers are, the 1, the 2.
You need to go on presentation mode. Maybe then it will be easier to spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You're right. Oh, right now it doesn't seem to be possible. Yeah. Okay. I can't find it here. I'm sorry. I will just go on. The good thing is that now you can see it a bit bigger. So the The first type is the mandatory loosely prescribed mobility window. That means, as we can say in the name, that the mobility window is a mandatory component of the study program. So there needs to be a phase abroad where students have to go abroad. What students study or undertake while they're abroad is loosely prescribed, not very fixed. So they have a lot of options what they can do during this time. It's a hybrid type of a mobility window because it combines a flexible and a rigid element. It has to be done, but how it has to be done depends upon your own choice. The second one is a mandatory and highly prescribed mobility window. That means that this mobility window is also a mandatory component of a study program, but students here have very limited choice what to do when they are abroad, because the academic content is highly prescribed, is very fixed and structured. This is the most structured type of a mobility window, and it's very often used in international study programs because it's a very high degree of integration between the curricula of two study programs, between the one at your home university and the one at the host university. There's the optional loosely prescribed mobility window, and this window is an optional part of the study program, which is the mobility window route that you can take if you want to. What students study or undertake while they're abroad is loosely prescribed. So you have a lot of options, and there's nothing that you really need to do. And this is the most flexible type of a mobility window. It comes very close to the individual Erasmus mobility that we do have. And the fourth type is the optional, highly prescribed mobility window. This window is also an optional part of the study program. And now I'm talking about this mobility window route that you can take if you want to. Students have very limited choice here what to do when they're abroad, because the academic content is very highly prescribed. This is also a hybrid type of a mobility window because it combines flexible and rigid elements. This is very seldom actually, because that you have to go abroad, that you can go abroad if you want to, but you have very content-wise very hard obligations when you do so. This is very seldom. So what's the benefit of a mobility windows? Why mobility windows? The benefit for students is that it offers a high quality of mobility, and this is essential for students less likely to go abroad because it offers the structured mobility. It is described in the curriculum. This makes the recognition of the study achievement from abroad a lot easier, and it gives more security and reliability for our students. For the institution, one benefit is the quality boost that you do have when you can offer also study contents from another university. It's a reputation enhancement. It's very good for the staff mobility, and it's good to have better graduates because they have a lot more international experience. The organization, it's a lot easier, and the communication with the partner institution too, if you have such a mobility window for the students. The challenges that we all have to face when implementing mobility window is, for students, very often there's a certain lack of knowledge of foreign languages, and you have to have a certain level of this foreign language if you want to study in it. It's additional costs, it's additional organizational effort for students too, and depending on the content of the mobility window, they have a small scope for decision making because they then have to choose a certain path. For the institutions, it needs a lot of engagement and work that you have to put into this mobility window, not even to implement it, but to stay with it and to keep it clean. It's very resource intensive. You need stable funding arrangements, and it has to have a certain sustainability to work and to well function. So what could be a help and the support? We have the Erasmus program for individual student and staff mobility that helps us with the funding. And right now, starting with the new Erasmus program, we have very new innovative digital exchange formats for more flexible approaches. We have the blended intensive programs that will be very new, that will be introduced in, I think, in a couple of days with the new Erasmus guidelines. And this could be like a study travel with several students and high school teachers to another university, together with a third high school institution. And we have individual student blended mobility within Erasmus. This is like the old Erasmus student mobility, but it also contains a virtual element. So both of them combine phases of digital exchange and physical short-time stays abroad at the partner institution. And this maybe can also give us some short input about how to use also virtual or digital elements for student mobility. It's also easier to have assignments on curricular agreements or agreements between the partner institutions. And we also have an Arqus something that we could offer. This is the Arqus Open Mobility Agreements and the Arqus Recognition Guide. And this gives us a very, or not an easy way, but maybe a better way to lean recognition procedures. Thank you very much. And I would give the floor back to Ellen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isabel, for giving us this theoretical introduction to the topic. And we will soon hear some examples of how universities have worked on implementing mobility windows. But before that, we will just try once more with this interactivity. And if Andrews, would you like to try and share your screen and see if the connection is better to Vilnius? And there should be some
How's it going? Do you see my screen?
yeah, we see your screen, the Arqus website right now.
Communication purposes. So please, if everyone could go to slido.com either on your mobile phones or on your laptops or computers, and as a participation code type in 20649. Maybe some of my colleagues could put this number in the chat box for participants to copy. 20649 and press enter. We should be able to participate in the poll.
Yeah, and the first question that appears should be what university you represent here.
Yes. Yeah. Inma, could you turn on the poll?
Do we get the poll?
Let's wait a minute.
I think if should you switch to the polls, Andreas? No. Okay. It seems like the technical stuff may not be working the way we expected it to do today. So no.
It became creative.
Okay, so then I guess it's
but I somehow managed to answer the question. There was a poll for me.
Yeah, there was at the beginning, didn't it?
We gave it a try at least, but I guess we should move on to the.
We have the poll. Congratulations.
Oh. So
Sorry, it was a question of the connection, and I have just turned off the camera. Okay, so now things will go better. Sorry.
So Vilnius University is very well represented here today. But we can see that all 7 universities are here. That's great.
Yeah.
Should we also take 1 minute for the next question in the poll here, which is what is the word that falls into your mind first when thinking about mobility window? It should give us a word cloud as a result. That could also be a bit interesting to see.
I stopped sharing so that people wouldn't see my word.
Yeah. Do we have any results to show?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I can show. I think everyone sees the results in their screens as well.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah. Can you see the screen?
So perhaps, Andres, if you would like to say what words that appear.
Yeah, we don't see a screen in my. I see that you're trying to share. The minute I'll share it, I'll share mine. It should work. And of course, people are seeing it on their screens.
Yeah.
Erasmus is the main one. Erasmus, exchange, travel, recognition, opportunities, internationalization, of course, with S and with Z as well. Structured, paperwork, of course, difficulty. So not only good things are related to the mobility window. Internationalization at home is very much related, probably. 20649, quite a lot of people related mobility windows with this number. Embedded, study abroad, a chance to study abroad, exams, flexibility, quality, curriculum, different.
That's interesting to see. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody, for participating in this Slido, Paul. The next on the agenda is to hear from universities that have had experiences with mobility windows, and how did they design their mobility windows? What questions needed to be discussed? What obstacles did they encounter during the process, etc. The first presentation is from the University of Bergen, and I'm happy to give the floor to Vice Dean for Education at the Faculty of Law, Professor Magne Strandberg. Please.
Well, thank you, Ellen. I'll just try to share my screen, and then we'll start the... So, is my presentation visible now?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I will just present the mobility window, or the mobility windows in the future, perhaps, for the 5-year Master of Law program here in Bergen. Before starting, I have to say that I'm very thankful to Ingrid Tøsdal, who has helped me with the presentation, or in fact, actually prepared the presentation for me. And she is also the expert on all these matters when it comes to the details and the developments. So if there is any hard questions or comments, I may have to ask Ingrid to help me or to step in. But Ingrid is prepared for that, so we'll just carry on. Now, a little bit first on some general information on the master program of law here in Bergen. There is 2,500 students at the faculty in total. Every year there is 319 new students at the first year on the master's program, and it all leads to a 5-year program leading to a Master of Law degree. So it is an integrated Master of Law with not with a a bachelor and a master degree. And this is the main topic for today, of course. Between 40 and 50% of all our students go abroad during their law program. And we will just show this with a little bit of statistics first now. This is the development over the number of exchange students from our faculty from 2002 until 2019. And as we all can see, there has been a massive change since the early 2000s and until 2010, 11, and 12, where there was a peak of the number of students who went abroad with 208 in 2012. And then it has been a little bit variation since 2012 and with a number of 196 students in 2019. 2020, of course, was an exception, so the statistics for that year is not as interesting, perhaps in this context, as the numbers from 2019. And the massive development here is from the years of 2005, approximately. That was the year when I finished my study here in Bergen, and nearly no one of my colleagues back then went abroad to do law studies. Nowadays, it is very normal and it is expected for the students to go abroad for 1 or 2 semesters. And this is the percentages of students who go abroad. This is the period from 2008 till 2019. So it's relatively high during the entire period. A little above or a little less of 50% of our students go abroad every year. This is the entire law study. 5 years, starting with some introductory subjects, and for the first year, and all the first 4 years consist of mandatory courses. All of these are mandatory for all law students. And then for the 5th year, that is where the mobility windows are. And the 5th year of our Master of Law program consists of 30 credits of courses which is free of choice for those who are here in Bergen, of elective courses. And the other 30 points are the master's degree or the master's thesis. So the entire 5th year is one entire mobility window, and all of these matters that the students will take here in Bergen can be exchanged and very flexibly and easily by going abroad to somewhere else, as long as what they are doing has something to do with which is relevant for a Master of Law degree. And well, the history of this entire program and the mobility window is the reform back in 2003 or 2004, which was the Bologna process here in Bergen. It was a massive change of the law programs. It went from 6.5 years to 5 years, and it was an increased focus on international law and international dimensions. And the opportunity for going abroad for 1 or 2 semesters is a part of that increased focus on internationalization within law in general and within our master's degree. And well, I think we should say that the strategy back in 2004, 2005 with these mobility windows has been a massive success at our faculty. The numbers of exchange students is a proof of that. But we need to stress that a mobility window is not enough in itself. We need persons like Ingrid and all the others, very enthusiastic persons within the administrative side, who has to go on and go on and go on and make a lot of efforts in the practical daily life to make this a reality. And there must also be agreements with other faculties abroad. We need an explicit expectations towards the students to say that, okay, we expect you to go abroad. And the most important aspect, there is a need for information, clear information, and not too much information, but correct, precise, and good information. And well, the benefits of this mobility window that was presented by the speaker before me, and there is well, the very obvious benefits of this is firstly that there's some sort of clarity for the students. They should know when they start studying here in Bergen that at the 5th year there is an opportunity to go abroad. So the time limits needs to be clear, and there needs to be some sort of elective courses that can easily be exchanged by similar courses abroad. And it must be easy for the students to let go of their flat and so on here in Bergen, get a part-time job and so on, for the mobility to be essential. And well, there is also a few disadvantages of having this mobility windows. Firstly, not by a mobility window as such, but our mobility window as it is in Bergen today. And the massive obstacle perhaps is that it is not an obstacle, but a disadvantage is that the mobility window is at the end of the program. So going abroad is the last thing that most of the students do as students. And that means that most of their learnings of legal cultures and so on from other countries will not be of any advantage for the students when they are dealing with Norwegian law, because they are finished with Norwegian law when they are going abroad. So there has been a reform going on now for several years, where one of the factors is to split the mobility windows and creating a mobility window in the 3rd year, the 2nd semester 3rd year, where will be allowed now in the future for the students to go abroad, where the curriculum here in Bergen would be 10 points of comparative law and 20 points of elective courses. All these 30 points can easily be exchanged by going abroad, and we will allow and expect our students to go abroad at that semester, and we will be very flexible as to the system for acknowledging the studies going on. Elin, are you able to mute the other speaker?
Veronica, I think you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And then for the mobility windows in the 5th year is still going to be there, but there is some discussions as to whether there still should be mobility windows for both these semesters or only one of them, at least one of them, perhaps also for both. And well, the benefits and the concerns of this new program is that, firstly, that the students will bring back their international perspective after being abroad on the 3rd year and could make use of these perspectives on the 4th and 5th year here in Bergen. The harder side is that, okay, will they get motivated to go abroad where they must let go of their flat and so on for just one semester and then go back to Bergen again? Well, the practicalities are important, and this may be one of the obstacles for getting abroad in this new system. And also for the 5th year, we still will be an option. That would be courses at a higher level, of course, and we would more easily could, in the future, require that the students actually take courses abroad that are equal to what they should have taken here at home. And well, I think the concluding part of this and the most important matters in general is that the study programs needs a clear and obvious mobility window. That is the main point, whether it is on the first year, the second year, third year, and so on. That is not the most important part. The most important part is that it must be clear, and it must be clear for the student at the start of the program. It must be very clear. Okay, at the third year you can go abroad, and there needs to be some sort of stability in this as well. You can't change this very often, and then at the end, a mobility window is not enough. We need persons like Ingrid and all the other enthusiastic administrative stuff to have this getting realized. And that is very, very important. It is perhaps the most important element in all this. Enthusiastic persons. Well, this is Bergen, not today. That's a sunny day, a rare day some years back, I don't know when. It was one of the few days with a very nice sunshine here in Bergen. Well, if you like fog and rain, please go to Bergen sometimes. It is very nice. No, I'm just joking. It's quite often like this. This is a very nice and beautiful building at our faculty. So that was my message for today. I'll leave the floor for you again, Elin.
Thanks a lot to you, Magnus Donberg, for your presentation. But there may be some questions, but we are a bit behind schedule now, so I think it would be better if there are questions that you write them in the chat, and then we can try to forward them to the presenters afterwards, and we can also see if we have time at the end of the meeting if the guest speakers are still with us then. So we will have another presentation, and this time I'm happy to introduce Magister Benjamin Horvath, Coordinator of International Study Program, EIECE, Faculty of Social Sciences and Philosophy at Leipzig University. So please, the floor is yours. Are you still with us, Benjamin Horvath? Does anyone see Veronica? You have the overview, I think. Do you see if Benjamin is here? Yeah, I think he's here. Can you hear us, Benjamin?
He's trying to speak. We can see the microphone working, but we can't hear him.
There you are.
But at least, yeah, we can see him now.
Yeah, we can see you. I'm not sure if we can hear you.
Maybe I could step in if there are further problems. Mr. Horvath, can you try to say something to us? Maybe it will work then. Can you hear us? Okay, but if you say something, it isn't working. It says microphone is on. So, okay, I try. Maybe I can try to share my screen and to show the presentation of Mr. Horvath. I'm sorry, I'm not too good prepared because I didn't know his presentation before, but I try my best to go on with it. Mr. Horvath, maybe you can also try to get your microphone on, and you just interrupt me as soon as it will be working, right? Okay.
Thanks, Isabel. So please go ahead and try. Yeah.
So this is an example from Leipzig University, and the name of the study program is East European Integration. No, sorry, European Integration in East Central Europe. It's a master's study program at the Faculty of Social Sciences and Philosophy. And Mr. Benjamin Horbert, Magister Benjamin Horbert, wanted to present this to you as an example for a optional mobility window in a study program. This, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I got some noises here. Okay. This master study program, European Integration in East Central Europe, exists
Hello?
since...
Hello.
Hello. No, it seems to
Does it work now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. You want to take over?
We'll try to... Sure. That's what I was preparing for. We'll see if my video is working. If not, it's not that bad. It won't brighten your day to see my face. All right, I will just try to catch up. I'm Benjamin Horvath. I'm the coordinator for the MA Europe. We'll try to European integration. Sure, was probably already mentioned. We'll see if my well, this program not a year of 2015. It's a pretty all right, object-oriented program, and it's trying to analyze the integration processes and the European MA European integration in East Central, which exists since our winter semester of 2050 practice-oriented program.
I'm sorry, something...
It's trying to analyze the integration of politics and economy with a focus on the East Central. What is it?
Benjamin, something, I don't know if everybody has the same sensation here, but it seems that there's like something like a loop. When I hear your voice, it is interrupting and there are fragments from before and afterwards in it. Has everybody had the same sensation, or is it only my computer? Veronica, could you hear that too?
It's cut off. We are not sure if we get all the words. Maybe it would be helpful if Benjamin tries to turn off the camera. Maybe then the connection would be better for him.
Is it better now?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's try.
If there's anything else bothering you, just write it in the chat. So our program has a focus on the East Central European countries. It's not that easy to define this area. We would start at the Visegrad states, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary, and maybe from there broaden the scope to the former socialist states of the EU, maybe even beyond that to countries which want to join the EU, and maybe even countries that might interfere into the relationship between EU institutions and the national institutions of the area. Our program has 4 semesters, and 120 credits have to be collected. And as some extras, we have excursions to Brussels, for example, in the first semester of our single degree program, and joint seminars with our partners in Budapest at the Andrássy University, which I will explain a bit more on the next slide. So we have 2 programs, so to say. I will just briefly introduce the double degree program for the sake of the overview. Here, both universities nominate 5 students each, and all of those students will start their first year, so 2 semesters in Budapest at the Andrássy University. In the third, they all come to Leipzig And in the fourth, each student goes to the university of its nomination, or in some cases there are options to stay at the respective other university. But we will focus on the single degree program, where we have a mobility window in our second semester. We will look a bit more into the details on the next slide. So we have some core subjects which we want to teach our students, which is on the left-hand side more the politics column, and in the middle column the economics column, and then on the right side we have some space for compulsory elective modules. Here students can choose from different language courses, for example, in cooperation with our department for Slavistics, which is pretty useful for our geographic focus. Unfortunately, there are no similar possibilities for example, Hungarian, Romanian, maybe Baltic languages or similar languages. And on the other hand, students can also choose from other, choose modules from other social sciences, which fit in our program or their interests. So the second semester is reserved for a mandatory semester abroad. We will go into more details on the next slide. Yes. So our students choose a university of their choice from a pool of partner universities. There they will have to get 30 credits, and for us to recognize these credits, we count it as a container for a compulsory elective module. In preparation, then a learning agreement has to be signed with our coordinator for the Erasmus program, so we can recognize the study achievements from abroad. So for this semester abroad, some relevant information for our students are to check the curriculum of the chosen university and its recognizability for our Master European Integration East Central Europe. Then a recurring problem, which I will go in deeper in a later slide, is the start date and the duration of the stay abroad. Then, of course, the financial support. For example, in Germany, we have the Auslands-BAföG, which is a student grant for semesters abroad. You can get that if you are entitled to get the BAföG in general. Or otherwise, you can choose or try to apply for a scholarship. There are different options we offer or show our students. Erasmus Plus. I translated it literally, metropolises in Eastern Europe, then different local scholarships or promos. And of course, they have to organize an accommodation, check insurance questions, and so forth. So how does this look in detail? Our students enroll at the Leipzig University. Our semester officially starts on October 1st. Then students should contact our Erasmus coordinator concerning the preferred partner university, or they should give or have a ranking in mind until October 10th. Of course, the students are not surprised by this on October 1st, so they know all these questions in advance when they get accepted for this course. Then again, they have to check for overlapping term durations because of possible exams or papers that have to be taken or handed in, and then they might have to prepare term papers in time while they're having their semester. Right. From what I've seen so far, the main destinations are in our area of, or focus area in East Central Europe. We have just a few exceptions with maybe Sweden or the Belarusian State University. So in this case, probably the Erasmus programs are probably enough for our students or for the focus they are having. And we have a good partnership with the Andras University, so maybe that's the reason for a lot of our, or most of our students going there for their semester abroad. Then we will change the slide. So the mentioned problem of overlapping term durations. There the question is, how can exam performances be managed? Just as an example, the semester in Germany is from October to roughly February. And then on the other hand, in Hungary, they have their semesters within a calendar year. So it starts in January and ends in around May. So if there are exams that have to be taken, and I had this case, the students have to approach me and I have to arrange exam conditions at the exchange university. This means the university has to prepare a person who is overviewing the exam, and the university has to provide a computer that can't be changed in some way in advance, so that we have optimal exam conditions. Then another recurring problem we have is postponing the semester abroad. This might be a similar question that Mr. Strandberg mentioned before in his speech, that, well, from my personal point of view, the second semester might be too early, but then again, maybe the third wouldn't be better either. This is connected to our double degree program. So we can't offer a semester abroad in the third semester, because then all the students from the double degree are coming to Leipzig and they have to be provided a proper curriculum. But then again, there are other personal preferences or issues, or maybe even a global pandemic that is raging. This was the case in this semester, that students want to postpone their semester abroad. And we had 3 cases so far. And mostly we suggest to postpone their semester abroad to the 4th semester. When we change the slide, we can see why. because we have 2 mandatory modules in the 3rd semester. They have to be taken. And in case we switch to the 4th semester, we can, or students can take the Politics and Practices of Europeanization module in advance, maybe slip the compulsory elective column from the 3rd semester in there. And then in the 4th semester, they have to reach for 40 credits instead of 30, or they somehow skip their master thesis. That's also an option, which is quite common these days. So that's a possibility. But then again, referring to Mrs. Granberg's point, then they might not have the opportunity to implement the knowledge they've reached in their semester abroad into their further studies. All right, next slide, please. And then there was also one case where we had a student not doing a semester abroad at all, which was in the 1st year, if I remember correctly. And well, he got his degree. So in this sense, this mobility window might not be that strict at all, or completely. So there can always be reasons for students not to go abroad or not being able to do that. And another factor or scenario we have to imagine is that students can't reach all the credits in their semester abroad, then they would have to collect missing credits somehow in Leipzig. All right. So what does this mean for us as an institution? Why do we want this international mobility for our students? We think that it's important, especially to get experience in our research fields, which means to be in the countries they want to deal with. Again, especially in East Central Europe. That what does mean for the home curriculum? We have to prepare our students for the exchange experience and also try to build on it, for example, with language courses or similar initiatives. Then a last question that Ms. Maringer asked me somehow. Is there an impact beyond the standard Erasmus mobility at program and institutional level? I wouldn't say so for us, because I would say our students are pretty well off with standard Erasmus, as they can reach these this area pretty easily this way. So then we have our last slide, which is interestingly pretty similar to the slide of Ms. Maringer. It's pretty much the same as in her presentation, so I will just leave this one open. I don't know if there are any questions concerning my presentation or our course in general, or if you even have time for questions like this.
Thanks a lot, Benjamin Horvath, for sharing your experiences with the mobility window and the way you have designed it. When it comes to questions, we will try our best to have time at the end of the meeting, and if the guest speakers are still here, you will be able to answer, or we will collect the questions for sure and forward them to you. Thank you very much again, Mr. Horvath, for your presentation. we are again a bit behind schedule, so I think it's time to just jump to the next session, which is the group work. And for the next 45 minutes, you will be in small breakout rooms with other Arqus Alliance members to network and discuss the topics raised. And we have arranged the groups according to the field of study you represent. And to help you get started, we have prepared some guidelines. I will share my screen. Let's see. I don't know if you see the guidelines now. Yeah. And my task force colleague, Eva, will give you the link to this document in the chat. And please copy the link or open the document immediately so that you can bring it to your breakout room. I don't see the chat right now. Is the link in the chat?
Yes.
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So these are some guidelines for you to how to start the group work. And the task force members will go from group to group and be able to assist if needed. But please note that you will have to get started on your own and by using the guidelines. And then you may press the button ask for help if you need our assistance. So, and after the group work, we kindly ask you to upload the group's notes in the Google Drive as explained in the guidelines. And then your notes will be of importance to us and have great influence when we are to develop the handbook and guidelines. And after 45 minutes, we'll meet again in plenum, and we had planned for some of the groups to present their results. We might not have time for that, but we will for sure try to make an overview of the discussion results and your comments and make it available for all the participants after the event. So I think it's time to leave for the breakout rooms. So I wish you good luck and have good discussions and see you in 45 minutes. Okay, so I think we're all back, or those who are left in the meeting. Welcome back. I hope you all had some fruitful discussions. And if you could please upload your notes to the Google Drive. The link is at the bottom of the guideline document. And unfortunately, time has been running too fast today, so we do not have any time for presentations, but we will make sure that we make an overview of the discussion results and send to all of you after the event. And also we haven't had time for any questions or comments in plenum, but please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any questions or comments or follow-ups regarding this work. We will send out the participant lists and we will include our contact information there as well. So on behalf of the whole task force, I would like to thank you all for contributing to the discussions and bringing in your perspectives today. I also hope that you were inspired by the discussions and the examples and experiences shared, and that you will maybe initiate the development of mobility windows in your university. And hopefully you also made some new contacts today. As said in the beginning of the workshop, one of our goals in this Arqus activity is to develop guidelines for implementation of mobility windows. And the task force will for certain use the results and the content that you developed through this workshop in the work ahead. And we are planning on organizing another webinar on the topic down the road. And I think, Andreas, did you have a comment?
Just a short one. I couldn't. I would really want to share what actually our group was discussing. Just a short note that the very first step is finding partners and finding each other and changing, you know, in implementing mobility windows. It's not the curriculum, it's not the money. Okay, finance is, I mean, is an issue. Bureaucratic things is an issue. The first thing is to finding each other. So hopefully we started with these finding these partnerships, and we'll definitely we'll try to help you to do that further on the road. As Ellen mentioned, we'll share their contact list, because in our room, people started writing their emails at the very last second before Veronica threw us in here, and yeah, we'll share it. And of course, if you have an interest in implementing mobility windows, you can always contact your local coordinator. Ellen mentioned that, and we'll always help you to find partners in other universities. We'll just, you know, contact each other in the administrative team and help you reach out to the partners, and then organize these, you know, webinars on the subject areas. So please do not hesitate to start collaborating.
Absolutely, and we are here to help you and to connect you with other people, and yeah, assist you. So please feel free to contact us. So I think that's it for today. That's all we managed. Thanks a lot to all of you, and have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.